Epstein was found dead.
Yep.
In prison.
Yes.
In August of this year.
Yep.
What was your response on hearing that he'd died?
Shock.
Some people think that he didn't take his own life.
Well, there again, I'm not one to be able to answer that question. Well, there again, I'm not one to be able to answer that question. Well, there again, I'm not one to be able to answer that question.
What's so freaking funny, Prince Andrew, Duke of York? What do you know about Epstein killing himself? He says he's not one to be able to answer that question, but it is a funny question to ask. He said he heard something about a bone in his neck or something. He might have heard something about that. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining me live on YouTube for once. I'm here. And I'm going to go over some portions of the Prince Andrew interview. I'll be doing an extended version, which will be exclusively on DLive. You can see the stickers coming up on DLive there on the side of the TV. We're live on DLive, Twitch, and YouTube. We're live on YouTube as long as we're still on YouTube. We are no longer commercially viable, and we know that's a problem. So anyway, I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. There's Doshi. We're in our new studio in Austin, Texas, bringing you the new kind of show. Now, Prince Andrew, okay, this interview happened on Friday or Saturday. Now, you can't find enough. I mean, there are so many articles about this interview and about what a train wreck it was that all over the British media in particular, and the media from the UK, you can just find a million different articles debunking different parts of this interview. I'm going to go over some of that with you here today and then invite you to join me for the extended show on DLive. I don't know how much I can play of this thing, so I just have some clips there. It is a fascinating interview all the way through with all kinds of great sound bites. I mean, it is an epic train wreck. And beyond the interview being a train wreck, the entire situation has turned into a train wreck for Prince Andrew and the royal family. He might be dismissed from public duties entirely, although the Queen apparently has a soft spot in her heart for Prince Andrew. He might be kicked out of the royal scene, all because he's decided to do this stupid thing, all because his secretary convinced him to. I'll tell you about that too. So here's some of the fallout, and then I'll play some of the interview. His public relations guru, they call him, Jason Stein, a master of the dark arts, apparently. Daily Mail is reporting that he quit 2 weeks ago after a bust-up with the royal senior aide, Amanda Thirsk. So we have a name to blame for this interview. Apparently, Prince Andrew himself was reticent to appear on the BBC. The BBC had been trying to book this interview for at least a year. Prince Andrew didn't want to do it, but Amanda Thirsk, who they describe as a senior aide, I believe they also call her a private secretary, talked him around, and I'll show you. So this is the guy that quit, this 28-year-old Jason Stein, who was Amber Rudd's former special advisor, and that was somebody else in Parliament who was in trouble, who had some issues and ended up resigning, actually. While Andrew initially voiced concerns, at one point he said emphatically, quote, "No, we shouldn't do Newsnight," unquote. Influential private secretary Ms. Thirsk was enthusiastic and over time talked him around. Well, thank God for that. Thank God for that. I saw that the interview was 49 minutes. I was afraid I had to sit through the whole thing, but boy, there's a lot of gold in this interview. So let me play you a few clips, okay? Some of the things that he said, and I'll pick what we can choose about this. I mean, this is maybe the worst answer. This is maybe the worst answer he gave. I have to play this for you. He was asked why he went to New York after Epstein got out of jail for being a serial sex abuser, basically, and had pleaded guilty to sleeping with underage girls, right? He went to New York, apparently, to break off the friendship, and he stayed there for about 4 days, even though he lies about that initially. Said he left the next day. Turns out he was there a lot longer than that. Why did he stay there?
I was there at dinner, yeah.
I'm just trying to work this out because you said you went to break up the relationship and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long.
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of
Yes.
a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Boom. Oh, he's not done. Why did you stay with the sex offender? Oh, it's convenient. Nice place. Have you seen that place before? Come on. You'd stay there too. Doesn't matter who's living there. It's a nice house.
I mean, I've gone through this in my mind so many times. At the end of the day, with the benefit of all the hindsight that one could have, it was definitely the wrong thing to do. But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do. And I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
Because during that time...
Why did you stay friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Why did you hang out with Jeffrey Epstein if you were breaking off the relationship? Well, because I'm too honorable. That's like when they ask you in an interview what your weaknesses are and you say you're too much of a perfectionist. Why did you hang out with him? Oh, I was too honorable. Why did you stay with him? It was convenient. He's completely tone deaf, has no idea how to answer these questions, appears not to have been prepped at all by anyone. And if he was, he forgot everything he was told. It was like all these questions hit him out of the blue and he's answering them for the first time. What a great interview. I have to show you, I do have to do some body language analysis. And we understand Bombard's body language Ghost, I believe, has done a review on this. It's not, you don't have to be a professional though. And she's not a professional either, except for the career on YouTube. I'm going to show you a little bit of body language when he's asked about Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Take a look and see what you think.
Remember meeting her.
No.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you. You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
No. I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm convinced that I was never in trance with her.
Hold on, I'm going to get to the other parts of that story. Did anybody count how many times he blinked? I'll have to say it for the podcast listeners. Let me see if I can keep up. They say blinking rapidly is a sign of lying, a pretty accurate one.
In a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
Blink.
No. I
Blink,
have
blink,
no
blink,
recollection
blink,
of
blink.
ever meeting her.
Blink, 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 blink.
I'm
Blink, blink,
almost,
blink,
in fact,
blink.
I'm convinced
Blink, blink.
that I was never
Blink.
in trance with her.
There you go.
There are a number of things that are wrong with that story. One of which is that I don't know where the bar is in tramps.
So he says a bunch of things that you can factually check. This one is he claims that he doesn't know where the bar is in Tramps. Tramps is a private club where people get loose, you know. People from the upper echelon of society go to get loose amongst themselves. Here's a story from February 2019 about Tramp nightclub, society club where you undress to impress. And I'm going to show you just from this article. He claims he doesn't know where the bar is, but in this article it says it was at Tramp that Prince Andrew first met Koo Stark. After his marriage, he and the Duchess of York were regulars. And he says he has no idea where the bar is at Tramp's. He says a lot of a lot of different things. Maybe I'll be able to play the clips from that. So it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And then we have other facts, other things that have been fact-checked, that were being fact-checked in real time. Listen to this excuse. Listen to this.
Yeah.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was, oh, actually, yes, I didn't sweat at the time because
You can't even remember. It's the most ludicrous story. I'm going to show it to you. I didn't sweat at the time. Hold on, he'll explain it. I don't sweat. I didn't, or what? No, definitely didn't sweat. That could be fact checked.
Had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falkland War when I was shot at.
Overdose of adrenaline in the Falkland War when he was shot at. Some doctors have fact checked that. They say that is not a normal way to develop the condition of not sweating, and that if anything, it would make you sweat a little bit more. I have pictures of him. You can decide whether he's sweaty or not. I'm gonna debunk a couple things at once that, like I said, were kind of being debunked in real time as he went into, wilder and wilder alibis. He couldn't have been sweating. He couldn't have been at Tramps because he didn't know where the bar was and he doesn't drink. Couldn't have been sweating because he didn't sweat. Now he sweats. Now he sweats. He's been working on it with a therapist, apparently. And now he's able to sweat once more. Thank God. We'll fact check that one in a second. Let me give you another clip. Yes. He also said it couldn't be him. Let me play. Oops. I watched this whole thing so you didn't have to.
Round her waist in Ghislaine Maxwell's house on any occasion, even.
He's asking about, he has some dispute about the picture, and I'll play this in the longer version of the show. I'll play you what he says about the photo. But he basically does cast doubt on it while saying that nobody can tell for sure if it's been if it's been manipulated or not manipulated. It's definitely me in the photo. But listen to this excuse for why he couldn't have had his hand around Virginia Roberts' waist.
Even if it was a different
I'm terribly
date.
sorry, but if I, as a member of the royal family, and I have a photograph taken, and I take very, very few photographs, I am not one to, as it were, hug, and public displays of affection are not something that I do.
Oh, really? Public displays of affection are not something that you do, Prince Andrew, Duke of York. Well, here's the Daily Mail fact-checking that. Prince, you can see the headline. Prince says, I didn't party or do PDAs. Andrew is pictured doing plenty of both at wild parties on the French Riviera in 2007, and he looks a wee bit sweaty too. Let me show you some of those photographs, and there's video. Not only does he appear in these pictures in public displays of affection, here is what they call a socialite, Chris Von Aspen, an American socialite, preparing to lick Prince Andrew's face. But the real thing about this photo is he's clearly on drugs. His pupils are quite large, and he has a permagrin fixed on his face. I'm guessing that he took ecstasy. Now, I don't want to get sued. I'm just going to say this is my opinion as someone who has experience in these areas, both personally and from observation. Those are big blown out pupils for having a big flash in your face. And he's got this stupid grin, which does not appear in other photos. There he is smiling again at the same party. And he does have hands around this woman's waist, Chris Von Aspen in Saint-Tropez. There, she's making fun of the fact that he's got a permagrin. That's from the ecstasy, we allege, or we believe. Here he looks a little bit more normal, but he did claim at one point in the interview that he doesn't go out dressed this way, and that the way he's dressed in the photo with Virginia Roberts is not the way he would ever go out in London, at least, that he'd always go out wearing a suit. But here he is. I don't think he's as messed up, but there he is, definitely getting a little touchy-feely with a Canadian socialite. Socialite is a code word, I suppose, for something else. Here he is with Heidi Klum at a Hookers and Pimps themed Halloween party in New York in October 2000. And then you take a look, his hair, like in this picture, is kind of matted down on the back of his head as if there is some sweat, basically. And you could argue that the shirt is stuck to him a little bit as well. But you could certainly make an argument that he's got a little bit of a sheen to him for someone who got scared during the war when he got shot at, which, allegedly stopped him from sweating entirely. Okay, I have one more piece of news that's kind of breaking news about the surveillance in Jeffrey Epstein's house. Before I do that, I just want to remind everybody how you can support the show. This is an independent show brought to you from an independent location, and we definitely appreciate your support more than ever. One way you can do that and catch the full version of every show is by becoming a subscriber at lifttheveil411.com. And these are where the shows get posted, including shows that don't show up on YouTube and are only available for replay elsewhere. There was a show yesterday night, for example, which is on the website, exclusively on the website for any period of time. So go there. You can click on any video or click register, become a monthly or annual subscriber, and that really helps out the show and gives you access to archives of everything. And in fact, I'm just about to post, and I have uploaded to this server my Wolfgang Halbig interviews, which were just deleted. 2 more of my Wolfgang Halbig videos were just deleted after the announcement that things that are no longer commercially viable could be deleted and that they have full discretion to delete everything. So those videos will be listed exclusively on my website along with other banned content as I come across it. And there already is some on there. So that's at lifttheveil411.com. And as a reminder, we still have what we are calling a moving sale at truthclothing.io. That's our merchandise brand and clothing brand, Truth Revolution Clothing. If you go to the website, truthclothing.io, and go to moving sale, you'll find all kinds of stuff. Some of our best shirts, actually including Truth Matters, our Lift the Veil special shirts, What It Is, Mostly Real, women's tanks and scoops, all in these different styles, which are classic, all marked down for our move here. And so that we can try to build up some cash to bring you guys something even more exciting. But people love their stuff. We have free shipping over $50. Truthclothing.io. We are shipping now. Now, we got all set up here and we are shipping now. So let me play you this last clip before I go over to the after show. This is brand new from today, from CBS This Morning. This is one of Epstein's alleged victims. Let me see if they say her name. Maria Farmer, who's suing the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. Listen to what she says about the surveillance going on at the Epstein home here.
He showed you cameras throughout the house.
The main thing he did when I walked in, I thought was interesting, he showed me where the men monitoring everything were. So
you got to listen to this. I didn't know if I understood at first. Not just that, okay, there are men monitoring cameras at Jeffrey Epstein's house in real time, apparently. This is definitely news. We heard he has cameras. You might have heard Sumi snoring in the background. You heard he has cameras. Apparently there were actually people watching cameras in real time. Listen to the rest of this.
If you're facing the house, there's a window on the right that's barred. That's the room, the media room is what he called it. Yeah. And so there was a door that looked like an invisible door with all this limestone and everything, and you push it and you go in. And I saw all the cameras. What it was like old televisions, basically, like stacked, you know, but they were monitors inside this cabinet. And there were men sitting here, and I looked on the cameras and I saw toilet, bed, toilet, bed. I'm like, I am never going to use the restroom here, and I'm never going to sleep here. You know, I mean, it was very obvious that they were like monitoring private moments.
She believes there are tapes.
Where are the tapes? Hashtag where are the tapes? We know they collected a bunch of photos that appeared to be of underage girls from Jeffrey Epstein's house. We know that there were CDs in a safe that said things like naked pictures, somebody with somebody else, could be anybody. You know, we have some serious blackmail operation going on here. And the only thing we can hope is, with all this outrage, and there is a lot of it, that they keep looking into this case and specifically go after Ghislaine Maxwell, who Prince Andrew blames as being the reason that he was friends with Epstein. He claims that he wasn't friends with Epstein. He was friends with Epstein because he was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, the interviewer does not challenge him enough on these questions. So I'm going to get into those parts of the interview in the after show. Let me just show you one more headline from the UK press. This is from The Sun, where they claim that Prince Andrew could be extradited to the US to face allegations, and that he is, quote, not immune from prosecution, unquote. Now, I would have said that he most likely was immune to prosecution. But there are people that are saying that he could be actually extradited to the U.S. to answer questions. I think mostly what he's good for is being a witness to the activities that went on. I'm going to play you what he said when asked if he would testify in court about the things he said in the interview. He gives a pretty unbelievable answer to that as well. So please join me over on DLive. That's where we're trying to do the show, where we'd like to do it exclusively, and where we might be if YouTube goes through with their promise of deleting channels like mine. So join me over there. That's at dlive.tv/lifttheveil, dlive.tv/lifttheveil. I'm live right now, and I'll continue the show, play some more of that interview, and go over the rest of the news. So for now, for YouTube, and thanks everybody for tuning in. That is, and stay tuned on DLive. That is what it is.